Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us at the Microsoft Power BI UK user group. I'm your host, and as always, we're back for another exciting session to come together and learn as a community. Now, with that being said, I'd love to hear where you're all joining us from, so please do let us know where you're dialing in from. You could be like myself at the moment, whereby we've had mixed weather. At the moment, we have some rain, even though we've had sunshine today. So please do let us know if you're enjoying that sun or whether, like myself, you have some rain. With that being said, we do have what we hope will be another fantastically interactive session ahead of us today. So please do feel free to ask questions throughout. Unfortunately, my co-host, fellow MVP Pragati, is not here with us at the moment. She's actually presenting, I believe, the Romanian Power BI user group. So hopefully she'll be joining us partway through this session. But with that being said, as always, please do ensure that you are considerate to other users during this session and appreciating their views as well as we move throughout. So with that being said, in today's session, we're going to take a look at what every developer should know about Power Automate. And we're going to do so alongside fellow MVP Ming Man. Okay. As always, this session is brought to you in association with our sponsors, Pomerol Partners. So please do feel free to go over to our website, pomerolpartners.com, and interact with us there as well. So I'll just give you a bit of a brief background around Ming Man before I hand over to him for his session. So, as I mentioned, Ming Man is a Microsoft MVP since the year 2006, and he is a software development manager for a multinational company with 32 years of experience in the IT field. So, we're in very good company today. He has developed systems using Clipper, COBOL, VB5, VB6, VB.NET, Java, and also C Sharp, and he has been using Visual Studio.NET since the beta back in the year 2000. So, Ming Man Chan, thank you very much for joining us today. It's an absolute pleasure to have you with us.
Hi, Neil. Yeah, nice to see to be here as well. Yeah,
Thank you very much. And what I should have mentioned as well is that it's actually 1 a.m. In Malaysia where you're based. So, again, really do appreciate you taking your time out at such an early time in the morning as well.
yeah. So it's my pleasure. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, I'll just hand over to you for your session. I'm going to enable your screen share now. So, enjoy the session.
All right. So hope the audience can enjoy. Let me start my slide right now. If you can see my slide, then let me. Okay.
Yes, we
So
can.
I'm Ming Man. All right. So MVP data platform as Leo introduced. Right. So. Okay, so today I will be just sharing, to you, what developers from like myself, right, from the heavy coding guy to try to use the Power Automate uh, from Microsoft, right? Okay, so what after this session, I hope you know what is. If you don't know yet what is Power Automate, I hope you will know what is Power Automate, and I will share to you about the connectors, right? Which one is free if you are the Office 365 user, which one you need to pay extra, right? It's a money concern. Okay, and also I will tell you about the different flows, um, the automated flow, instant flow, schedule, and different kind of a flow. The last but not least will be the problems that you will be facing, especially when you just started, right? To use this Power Automate, the normal common problem that you will face. Then you will get ready when you start Power Automate. Okay, so what I will not be covering. Okay, so I will not be covering the expression when the very detailed formula, right? Inside the Power Automate, which is I will not cover that because that will have a lot of smallest details that you need to find out, because it's in the different use cases, you might use different formula and expression. So that is something that I will not cover in detail here. All right. So okay. So I will start with what is actually Power Automate, right? So this is something that very popular right now. In computer IT today, we move into low code or no code. People call it. Okay? So yeah. So what it actually is that Power Automate can do most of the time, right? So it is actually bringing all the data, because we have a lot of words, Excel, PowerPoint, um, SharePoint, all this in our daily life, right? I believe all the department, not all the department will use Visual Studio, right? But for sure, all the department need to use Microsoft Office, right? So correct me if I'm wrong. So that's why that so this is the tools that bring all these your data together, right? And so you can actually don't have to be manually do a lot of things with them, right? You can actually automate them. Okay, so yeah, as I mentioned, that the Power Automate comes together with your Office 365, right? Now I believe people call it Microsoft 365, right? So to me, the term is actually interchangeable, Office 365 or M365 or 365, right? So that is how people call it, right? And also you can actually do the day. Okay, I give you a scenario, right? A business scenario, especially in a lot of banking, insurance banking line or the manufacturing line. Normally, in this kind of so-called workplace, you will have a lot of operators, IT operators. In the so-called IT department, you have operators, to actually run the job, daily job, especially data extraction from Excel, right? And doing backup, or sending email. Even you click the button, just to click the button just to send an email. All these tasks you need an operator to do it. Okay. If you don't like that operator, right? The operator is you don't like them very much, right? So you can actually find out what is that operator is doing. You can use the tool to actually automate his task. Then you can transfer the operator to another department, right? So just joking, okay? So actually you can reduce the manpower, right? So by automating the task that operator is doing, especially on operator, right? If your company has a lot of IT operator, then you know what I mean, right? You know what I mean. Okay, so firstly, I will bring you to the connectors, right? So where to find the connector, and where do you actually, if you have Power Automate, you want to start, right? You need data. Where do you get the data? Where are the source? Where are the destination? You need to have connector to connect with them, right? Okay, so before I go into the live portal, when you look at the slide, when you look at the slide, you will see that you have the connector here. If you see the green small thing here, this is actually database. Database or database, depend on which country you are in, you call it. Okay, so the database basically, you see a small box down here. SQL Server, right? So you have a small box down here, and also dev op, right? This meaning that I'm using E3, right? So meaning that in E3 you cannot use this. You need to pay uh, another license called premium, right? So that is like whatever that without the small box here, then you will be happy. All this one you can use if you are the M365 E3 license user, right? You can use them. Okay. So let me just go into a demo for you. I will switch between a demo and the slide deck. Okay. So I go into the demo for you. I will have my own VM running. This is a guy. Okay. Hopefully you can see my VM running. Right. So here. Okay. So to go into where to where to find the first thing is that where to find Power Automate in your M365, right, or Office 365, right? You actually go into Power the portal.office.com as usual, right? So once you sign in to your uh, portal.office, once you type in your credential, you will come to the thing, the page like this. Like this is your the default view of your Office 365 or M365. Okay, so where to find Power Automate? Right? You cannot find it here. Okay, sometime, right? So you come to app here, you also cannot find it, right? So you come to the dot here, you might see the Power Automate here, right? Or you can go to all apps, right? All apps, then you scroll down. Last time when you click all apps, right? Microsoft is having all the app in the page for you. But today now, I think since 2-3 months back, they changed, right? So instead of they display all the apps in the page, they actually let you scroll. Yeah, that is a thing you need to know about M365. They will change on and off without you knowing it. Okay, so Power Automate is here, right? So you can Power App is here, and also the Power BI, all the Power. You can see all the Power Suite, Power thing, right? So I'm just going to cover the Power Automate. So you click Power Automate. Okay, this is the first screen you see, right? So you say hi, and these are the template that you have, existing template. If you look at this template, later I will come to this template and tell you what this one especially doing. This guy called save, email, and so on. And okay, now then you can where are the connector that you need to find. What can you use or what kind of connector you can actually come here, right? Once you click the connector, right, it takes a while to load. Okay, so yeah, so you see the same screen as my slide. Okay, so this you can see the same screen. I don't know what. Okay, let me just readjust my okay. So you can see the screen that like my, so you can see all these don't forget about all these premium. So before premium actually you have other things that which is quite a lot that you can use. So you have SharePoint here, you have OneDrive, right? This is the most important thing for you, and you have some other thing. Forget about this premium thing. Right? So old connector, you can actually go down to the standard connector without the premium one. So you can actually click here, right, to see what other standard one you have. Okay, yeah, quite a lot of them. So you don't have to worry, right? So this is the standard one, right? Now, okay, let me go back to the slide deck here, right? So that is where you can find your connector, what data source you can have, right? What can use it as a trigger that as you have, right? Okay. The next thing I will actually show you the different type of the flows. I will actually concentrate on the four, right? Um, Automated instant schedule and uh, desktop. Um, Business process, I will tell you the story soon. Right? So Now, uh, automated flow, right? I believe now they call it automated cloud flow, right? So sometimes they change the name. So or they call it automated cloud flow. I let me double check that. Okay. So what is automated cloud flows, right? So automated cloud flows, your flow always triggered by some events, right? I give you an example, right? So when you create a file in your SharePoint, a certain folder in your SharePoint, when you receive an email from someone, right? Uh, when you actually copy or create a file in again in certain folder, right? So all these are the triggers. Trigger, okay, the trigger the flow. Once they see you have some file in that folder, they start doing something automatically, right? So that is automated flow. Okay. Okay. So let me just okay. So this is where when you create the automated flow, I will show you the demo. No worry on that. So when you start the automated cloud flow, right? I believe it's called automated cloud flow, right? So automated cloud flow, then you will see a set of trees. When you scroll it down later on, I will show you. Right? I will scroll down uh, for you to see live, right? Then you have when you create an item in SharePoint, right? Or when you actually created in OneDrive, or they are also when you also create when you respond to a Microsoft Forms. Okay, once you click submit, right? Submit, then what action you want to do? If you submit the Microsoft Forms, so that is a trigger. So when you have all this set of the action, right? You can choose which action you want to trigger the flow to start running, right, or executing, right? So that is automated flow. Okay, the second type of the flow, right, is actually instant flow or instant cloud flow, right? So what is this one doing, right? This is actually you need to trigger it manually, right? You can trigger using a mobile normally, right? You can put it under the Power apps, right? Um, which is I'm not cover so much on Power App, but you can actually put it in the Power App. The demo that I will do it to you is you can trigger when you are in SharePoint, right? Your SharePoint document library. In there, you can also manually trigger this flow, right? This instant flow, right? I will demo that to you later on. Okay, so when you create the instant flow, like cloud flow, you will see again choose switch to trigger. Then as I mentioned, you can actually trigger by your Power Apps button, right? You can also trigger by using the PowerPoint button or in OneDrive, right? I will use SharePoint, which is you do not see it here right now, so I will show it to you later on, right? Okay, so I'll come to the demo to you, right? Let me jump to the demo on how do you create all those flow, where do you create all those flow, if you want to create all those flow. Okay, now, I come back to here, right? So you can see I have been playing with this thing, right? So I can click my flow here. If you don't have anything, you have not created anything before, here will be empty. You won't see anything. All right. So these are the things that I created, and this one I purposely off it for you to see. Okay. So if you see in gray color, meaning that this flow actually turned off. Sometimes if you have two long you haven't used it for quite a while, your Office or your M365 or Microsoft 365 or Office 365, it will actually turn off for you automatically. So if you haven't used Flow for quite a while, like 1 month, 2 months, it's good for you to come back here to ensure that Microsoft 365 have not turned it off for you automatically, right? If you ask me to tell you how to ask them not to turn off automatically, I'm yet to find out as well. Okay, so yeah. So how do you create a flow, right? You can actually click the new flow here. You see there's a new flow. You click the new flow here, right? Then you will actually see, these are the two that I mentioned to you just now. One is actually the automated flow. Another one is the instant cloud flow. Okay. Uh, and then I will later on show you the schedule flow as well. Okay, the last, this is why I won't touch so much. The desktop flow, I will actually show it to you as well. If you don't have the desktop flow, right, what you need to do with the desktop flow, you actually have to, you see the install button here, you have to click this button and you have to say install the Power Automate for your desktop, right? If you want to get the data from your on-prem computer, right, on-premise computer, you need to download the on-premise gateway as well, right? If you are just doing something that which is just want to automate the thing on-prem without going the data without going to the cloud, then you don't need the data gateway, right? The data gateway allow you to flow through your data, flow through from your on-prem to your cloud, right? Your M365. Okay, now, okay, so let me show you the automated flow. So I will, okay, let me show you this first, okay? So if you create this one automated flow, right? Okay, so you just now, as I mentioned, this is a slide is going to capture a bit for you. You can hit go down and see which trigger you want it to be, right? You can see this Asia that off that you can have. Google Calendar, when you receive a Google Mail, when you create that, when a Google Mail arrives to your M365 mailbox, right? So what do you want to do, right? So for example, all these things, these are the triggers that you can actually use. Okay, so for me, I am actually using the SharePoint, this one, when the item is actually copied, right, in the folder, right? So I will cancel this. I will go back to here. I will actually turn it on because I need to use this, and I will actually click edit and let you see that how what I have actually done. I've done two very simple action, right? And a file is created in the folder, right? Which folder, right? I have a pre-approved folder. For example, I want to have some approval, right? So I will actually create, when I have something in the pre-approval folder, then I will actually copy it into the approved folder. Okay. Okay. So these are where do you get this? Okay, where do you get this copy file, for example, right? You can actually come here, right, and say you want to have a new step, or here you can add a step in between. I just show you the example, right? So you will see I click new step, right? If you want to say copy file, you can just type copy here. Then you can see copy file, right? Or copy file server. You can just scroll down here a bit. You can see copy file from your OneDrive and so on, right? Just an example for you. I'm not going to set this, right? So I know that I have a flow that if I create any file in my SharePoint folder, it's copied to my the approved folder, right? Whether that is working or not, I already turn on the automated flow. Let's have a try and see whether this thing is working, right? So I go back to my the main page of the O365, right, or M365. I go to SharePoint, right? You will see I have been doing a lot of POC with my SharePoint. Forget about it. So I have another POC folder, proof of concept folder. This is the document libraries that I mentioned. That you can see in my flow here, right? In my flow here, when you click edit, I'll let you see again. I actually say using this. This is actually my POC, right? Here, proof of concept. So here, right? So I what I in the flow I actually mention if I put something here, if I create something, I drop anything here, create anything here, right? Then you actually go to another folder automatically, like without me go and every time copy by myself manually, or operator have to come into the folder, or operators, right? They will come into a folder and see what file, then copy. You don't have to do that. This is a very, you can actually automate this, right? So I can actually say create anything, right? Create a Excel survey, for example. I want to create any text file here. No text file. Then I create a Word document. I create a Word document actually. Okay, to test automated flow, right? Okay, so I will just create it, I believe, right? So I will just cross this guy. Hopefully, I will see about a not here, right? Boom, boom. Let me try again. Yep, created. It's a bit slow, right? As you know, okay. Let me rename this guy, or don't rename. What happens if I rename this guy? Right? So to test flow. For example, I'll just rename it. See whether the one that they're fast enough to copy the rename one over to my approved, or before that. And then I go over to my approved folder. Okay, so I think this one is not here yet, right? You wait for a while because this guy is document, right? It's actually October 2021. It's not this one. So I just delete this guy. I delete this one, right? I'm expecting another file is coming over, right? So let me just refresh this guy. Hopefully I see something else coming, but it's not coming yet. Take a while, hopefully. Okay, I have the file here, right? And I have a flow here. Okay, on. Okay, I just let it be, right? Later on, you probably will see it copy away. It will actually take a while normally, right? So, tick, refresh. Oh, not coming over. There. Yep, it's here. See, it take a while, right? It take around 30 seconds. Well, I mean, okay, you will come over it, right? So, yep, this is the file. Okay, so that is actually one example of the automated flow, right? So then you come down to say instant flow, right? What is instant flow? When you come to here, you say I want to have I want to create a new flow, right? I want to create, this is my flow. I create a new flow. I want to have instant flow. Okay, so from here you can see what's my trigger again. Now this time you can have Power App, right? You can have again SharePoint is down here. You can trigger from the SharePoint. You can actually put a button in your Power BI, right? If you're the Power BI user, then you can actually again in SharePoint you can actually do that. Right? Okay, you can actually for me I've done this, but okay, I select a file. I select one item, I select a file from a SharePoint. Then I can actually move it to another place also, right? So where and how let me show you, right? I cancel this, I go back to my flow. Okay, so I say I forgot which one that I actually enable in my SharePoint. I've forgotten which one is this, right? I can actually go back to the SharePoint and let's say here, right? I just have a new file here. I can actually click the three dots here, right? Three dots. Okay, so I click the three dots. You will see something called automate, right? Okay, see, I actually enable this into my SharePoint. Okay, get the attachment, okay, and copy it. Okay, so I can come back here. I think it's this guy. So I actually edit this guy, right? This row, I edit it, and uh-huh, every time I have this different thing here, but I believe it's still working. Uh, yeah, it's really okay. This is a good experience that you can have, right? So it has an error here that I haven't seen. Let me also copy this and make it big and to the notepad for you to see, right? Whether that actually affecting your flow or the flow is not running, right? The flow I've been creating a while, right? I tested it, it's running, and I see this, for example. This is if you are a developer, you sometimes you have to find out what is this thing, right? So you come out here, they're actually telling you that the type property of the template trigger when you're line one, right? Where are all these things, right? You will say it will be duplicated in the schema version, blah, 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 preview. Okay. Anyway, let's see what is going on. So what is this row doing? That's right. When I select a file, right, I will just start, you can see I select a file in the document, right? Again, in this document library that I have. This is a folder, right? If I choose a file in that document library, right, I cannot just copy the file like just now what I did, right? It doesn't work. It will actually run without error, and the file is not copied, right? So that is something that the developer, if you want to do this low code, no code thing, you have to actually know, right? Sometimes the flow will run and you don't see the email received, the file has been copied because the step is actually not correct. So that's why if you have the experience on this, you will know, right? Some experience in Power Automate, right? So basically, you will need to know the exact step, right? So before you can actually copy a file from one folder to another, you actually need to get the ID of that file, right? Then you can only go to another folder, right? To this folder called Asia Camp 2021. You will know that the first time I did this actually 2021 in the global boot camp, right? So anyway, so I will actually what I will do is that I go back here, right? You see the flow, right? This guy. So I will actually go back to the SharePoint. I go back to the SharePoint. I just ignore the error message right now. You say error, but whether it's the error was still working. I don't want to save, and I say okay. I just want to leave, and I will go back to my SharePoint and okay. Let me show you that. No, let me go to the folder here to show you the file is actually not there. You only have one file here, right? So it's an MP4 file, right? What happens if I go to some other library and saying that I don't need to know where is a folder. I just want to just dump a file into that folder. I don't even need to go and, or else I have to copy or I have to move here, right? You can see here, right? I want to actually select a file, blah, 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 copy and move, right? So I don't need to do that, right? So the fastest way is I have a flow here. I just come here and just run this guy. And I just say, okay, run, right? Don't know where, I don't care where is the folder, where the folder is, right? But I just want to actually copy this guy. When I click the button, you actually copy to me, wherever that, that location is, right? So it basically says, okay, run. This one started, the flow started, right? And I will go back to just now. It's actually here, right? See, you actually go there and just drop the file for you, right? So all these things, the manual thing that you need an operator to run or you need somebody to do it, you just have to put it into the flow and just simply click that. Then you actually go to wherever the PDF. You actually can convert the PDF, Word to PDF, and so on for you. You have that feature, right? So yeah, so here is how I get you started. So you know where to start to create those flows if you want, right? Let me go back to my slide and see what else I will tell you. Okay, the another flow is actually the schedule flow, right? What is the schedule flow doing? This is a very, very useful thing here, right? The very useful thing here is you want to send, normally when you finish a task, then you want to actually remind somebody to back up, to copy file during certain time. You want to send an email to them. Okay, so you every time then you have to write, sometimes you have to write a .NET program, you have to write, you don't have to do that, right? Worry about, some people is using SQL Server agent, to order to send an email. You have to think of all sort of a way to send email, right? So you don't have to right now. You can actually use the schedule flow, right? The schedule flow can actually send or do whatever thing for you when you specify some time, date, and time. When do you want to? When do you want to? You can just repeat it every 1 minute if you want it to do it, or you can actually repeat. When do you want to repeat this thing? Okay, so this is how it looks like, right? When you want to create a schedule flow, right? So again, I just do a very quick demo. I go back to the live slide, right? So I have go back to my flow. I come back to my flow here. You have a lot of all this approval. I'm not going this the approval flow, right? What I realized in YouTube, I think 10 hour YouTube video is actually teaching you how to create a approval flow. So that is the reason why I don't show you how to create an approval flow here, right? So I just tell you how to get the simple thing to get it started. You can go to the YouTube showing you all the video or Power Automate in YouTube, almost all is showing you how to create a approval flow. So you don't have to worry on how to create approval flow, right? So okay, so to send an email, right? I believe this is the thing that I have, right? This is in my this is in my machine. So I have daily this email. Actually, I want to show you, right? It's actually I let it run. No, I just let it run every day. When you see that from my browser here, let me open another Chrome browser here, right? So I go to my Gmail, the real Gmail, right? So my real Gmail to test this guy. You can actually see, right? So ignore something like you can actually see an email that sent here. Um, this guy, right? Reminder, right? So somehow you have to put it to not the junk mail, right? So every day you actually move it to the junk mail. You don't actually see, you actually move it to a junk mail. Every day I let it send. It's a Power BI submit. Right? So this you actually move to junk mail, but you have to, right? If you don't want it to be junk mail, you have to make it not to junk mail. So where is this mail sent? Actually, is actually sent from this guy, right? So let me edit this one and you want to send every day, then I send every day. I prefer change it to every week. Because one every week, for example, right? And send mail to here, the email address exactly as this one. This is my email, right? Personal email. So you know what is my personal email. Don't spam me, right? So this is the thing that you have seen. So you actually, when you set this thing, right, you save it, he will actually send an email to you, right, on what you want the guy to do, to remind the guy, every day or every week, right, to make sure that the guy doesn't forget something that he needs to do, right? So, okay, so that is actually schedule flow. It's very handy. So way and how you create it is very pretty. It's the same. You come here and you say schedule cloud flow, right? You can actually say 1 minute, right? 1 week, 1 day, yeah, right? Then you put a name, then you actually can create. Okay, skip to actually new design. Then you can actually say send mail here, right? Ha. Okay. So that is a send mail, right? So send email, right? So you can say email. See, all these things will be here for you. This is how you get started, and this is how I get started as well. So I just don't want this guy again. I just want to leave it. I leave without saving it. Okay. So let me go to the what else I want to show you. Right? So I'm not going to show you business flow, right? The process flow so much because this normally will be used by Dynamic 365. This is basically a flow within a flow. It's you actually uh, combine all the flow together, right? So from one process to another process. For example, your sales campaign, right? Your production process, right? So you actually get it from Dynamic CRM, for example, right? So and so on. And this is one you need to pay extra. Yeah, your E3, you can't do this. You cannot do this, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. So if you have E3, E5, I'm not too sure, but E3 for sure you can, right? And you need to some dynamic 365 capability, right? Okay. But when you're going to create this, it's the same. You can see all the data set, the business flow and so on, right? Okay, so I think I bring down to another part. This is your desktop floor, right? So a lot of people is very exciting about this, right? Called robotics process automation, right? Actually, what are those things? Right? So what is actually automatic, and what is the use case, and what is the scenario that you need to actually use this thing, right? So let me go down to the RPA, right? It's a very popular topic right today, right? So Uh, okay. So it's a desktop, right? You have to download it. I have actually I've shown you like how to download that. I show you just now how to download this thing and install, right? So so previously actually you have something called Selenium, right? So it's something like that, but it's actually the improved version. You look at it, it's really kind of an improved version of that, right? So okay, so once you have downloaded the desktop, the Power Automate desktop, it looks like this. Right? I will go to a live demo for you, no worry. And this is how you actually go and put your variable, and you create. It's quite fun. I'll show you this part, right? Okay, and let's go into a demo, right? So you will not be just hearing what I am telling you. Okay, now one scenario, right? If you have a website, like okay, I created a website, right? So I'm a coding guy, right? So I have a web API in the back. You don't have to do this, okay? So this is actually okay. What this website is doing, I just show it to you, right? So I actually put it to a gig and actually show it in my blog. Actually, if you want this code, I actually show the code for you. I actually share the code with you, right? So you can actually go to the Git hub, right? So my Git hub and get the code. Okay, so what I am doing is that you can see actually I have the Excel file here, right? So meaning that, okay, I'll give you a scenario. You need your operator to click on the web page, right? The web page should actually generate a report every day, every night, or every bi-weekly or weekly, right? So I just delete this CSV. I just show you how what this function is. Okay, so I come into the my website, right? I have something called save CSV, right? If I manually click this button, I every day I have to. I'm the operator, right? For example, every day I need to come in here and just click this button, right? And once I click the button, I should have a file generated, an Excel file generated here, right? You can see the date. Then the date is actually now today, right? So now, as I tell you, I'm in the AM, right? So now it's 1:47 AM, right? So actually, then I delete this guy. I say I want to automate the click. What should I do, right? I start my Power Automate that I have installed. I pre-install everything because it will actually take some time to install and so on, right? So now my Power Automate starting. I want to click from the sketch, so you can see that the Power Automate desktop now is actually starting. Okay, so get things ready, right? Turn. So I start from the scratch from you to see, right? How when you start this one, it'll take a while, right? So okay, so you can see I'm actually playing for so many things. So I actually say get value. This is actually the flow that I use to click that button. So let me just edit this thing. Okay, I click edit. Right, open the editor for me, and make sure that now that I have deleted the. You see the CSV file I deleted. There's no CSV here. Right, I scroll up and down. You can see on my screen there's no CSV. Okay, so what I am actually automating this guy, right? The first thing I'll launch the browser, Edge browser. Then I will actually go to the link. Then I will actually click the button. Right, does it work? Right, so you can actually click the run here, right? You can actually schedule it to run, right? So I just trigger it manually and I will click the run button, right? When I click the run button, you will actually just wait and see. Okay, you will actually open the browser for me, right? You will actually go to the page and click the button for me. Then when they click done, I come here and you can see the CSV file is here. Okay, so that is one scenario how you can actually ask the Power Automate to click the web page for you, right? So how do you record that, right? So there's a record button here, right? If you click the record button, right, so you will actually uh, start. See, you actually start the recording. You click the record, then you can actually record whatever you want to record. Okay, so that's how I recorded that uh, web page and click the button. Okay, so okay, that's one scenario. Another scenario is that you have something, a Word, Microsoft Word file here, right? So you go to the data here. Okay, I actually opened this file here, right? So let me just say that. I actually opened this file here, right? So you can see that I have value here, 11111, this guy. I want to take the value from a Microsoft Word document. What should I do, right? Okay, so I show you how I can do it, and then I can put it wherever I want. I want to take some value inside the Word document and put it somewhere that I want. So I can actually close this guy and I will actually close this one as well. And I think it's this guy. I said this way. Let's go to edit. Right, I have a lot of funny thing here. Has been playing around quite a bit on this. Okay, so you can actually get the data from Excel as well, right? Get the data from Excel will be easier, trust me. The difficult one is get the thing from Words. So you can actually firstly I run the Words, then I take the data and I display, just pop up the display for you to see. Right? Say, okay, whether this thing is running, I just run this guy, right? I just run this one, I just open and actually extract it and take the value, hopefully it will display. See? You take the value and it display this. Okay, and how I actually do it. Okay, there is something called UI element, right? You see, can I actually take all these elements? See, from here, I actually take down to here. So at first, you need to click this guy. You say add UI element, right? Before that, you have to open your Word file, right? You have to open your Microsoft Word file just now, right? So where is the file? This file here, right? You can see that, okay, this guy, let me see, right? So you realize that, okay, uh, when you go move around, there is an element there for you to select, right? And you cannot get the value from the cell. You look at this guy, it's not a cell, right? There is something here. It's actually a text box, right? Field. You cannot get a value from the cell, right? There are some video outside and to show you that you can actually get it. I actually spent a few hours, I think more than half a day to actually figure this out. And I show it to you right now. You cannot actually get it from the cell. What you need to do is that you need to enable this guy called developer, right? And let me just close this one for a while, okay? And in here, you have something called a, right, text box, right? You need to actually make this guy as a text box. Right? Then when you then only your Power Automate can retrieve the value from your text box in your Microsoft Word file, right? Okay, so that will be another scenario, right? So you can actually I just edit one of these elements for you to see, right? So you can actually how do you actually run the Microsoft Word? You can actually edit this one. This is how I run the Microsoft Word. So you have to specify the file that you want to open and where your Microsoft Word is actually located. You need to actually specify that. Okay. Yeah, it's not very straightforward. Right? So you need to have you need to learn it for a while. Like even the record the web page one, you actually need to actually try. They will give you some error from the beginning. It's not as smooth as you think, right? But yes, there's no code that right. Okay, there's really no code that right. You can actually use this to actually get the data from your legacy application and so on, right? So this is a RPA, right? RPA, right? So you see, and okay, let me go back to my what else? Okay, go back to my slide. So okay, the problem that you have, right, is that you may see that when in the Microsoft Power Automate page, you have some obsolete component in there, which will give you error, right? That we have to check with which one you have to get used to it. Every day you use it, you know that some of the I will show you one that which is actually obsolete. I'm not too sure whether it's still there. When I have done this demo some months back, the component is still there, which is already obsolete, right? So you don't see error, as I mentioned to you. You don't see error, but it's not running, right? So this is what you actually need to know. That same thing, you don't see a data, but there's no error. You have to figure out, right? Like something like SharePoint, right? When you actually to get the item is get items, not get items. Get item is get the collection. All these things you need to get used to it. Need to know exactly which item to get which so-called component to select. select, so to get it right. It's not as straightforward as people say, oh, no code, you click, 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 you run, It's not that. You don't have to write code, right? But you have to go into another problem that you need to figure out. You have to get it used to it, and you need to always do it. If for me, right, I only do it once in a while, right? I don't have so much use case for my actual client. Then you ask me to come back and do it once in a while, then I will need to spend some time to figure out what to click actually, right? It's not as straightforward as people think, right? But you can achieve the automation, right? So now, this is one of the example I give it to you. If you still see this template, okay, in the Power Automate, you can see that the send email, this guy here is no longer working, but it's still there inside the Microsoft Flow, right? You can't use this guy to send anything out. You can actually bet with me, right? Bet with me. You can't, right? So, but it's still there, right? So you might have this problem. Some of the thing is no longer working, but it's still inside the template, right? So this is a problem that you will be facing, right? So yeah, this is the same thing. They actually tell you that the error is obsolete, but then you should ask our friend why it's still there, right? Uh, yeah, so that is one thing, right? So another thing is that, as I mentioned to you just now, right? Every time people were trying to miss this, I say, okay, select a file, copy, right? And then run, no error. But the file never get copied because in between you need another step. That also you need to get used to it and get it right. Okay, so no, you have to find out from somewhere. I actually find out from, yeah, take me quite a while to find out why the flow actually run, but nothing copied, right? So it's just now you see the demo that I've been doing. Yeah, it's actually take a while to create that, right? So once you get used to it, it will be easier, right? But when you get started, you will have a lot of frustration because you will actually face the problem that I face, right? So the last one I want to tell you that, right, when you install a new Windows 11, you click the Power Automate, it may not run, right? So good luck. Okay? So you need to install like how I teach you to install this. Like go to the portal and download and install the Power Automate desktop. I think I'm actually almost running out of time. Okay, so this is the resources that I have actually. If you the MVP, you know that so that yeah, this is where whatever I demo it to you just now. Actually, I put it in my blog just that in case I myself forget or somebody need to reproduce what I have been showing you, you can actually come to all this link and just to follow the step. Of course, you can actually feedback to the page if you cannot get it running. Right, I will see, if I can, what I can help, how I can help you on that. Right, so okay, so I think that's all I have. Okay, that's all I have on the slides and the demo. I see
Excellent.
some slides. Okay, all right. I think I have some questions here. Okay, yep.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Really, really good session. And as I mentioned, we do have my co-host Pragati back with us now.
I'm
Pragati, welcome. And you've just finished presenting yourself, haven't you? So thank you very much for
yeah,
joining us.
yeah. Apologies, Ming. I just can't attend your session today because I was
No
presenting
worries,
at the
no
same
worries,
time.
no worries.
But yeah, I just try to return as soon as I can.
Excellent, fantastic. So, with that being said, everybody that has attended today, please, we do have available in the chat our anonymous feedback form. So, please do let us know which events you would like to see and webinars from us in the future. So, please do click on that and leave us some of your feedback. With that being said, we do have a couple of questions coming in, or what people would like to see in the future. So Fred Van Engelen mentions that it was a very interesting session and thanks you for your time, Ming Man. And would be nice to see examples of how Power Automate can be used in or with Power BI as well.
Okay.
So
Um,
potentially in the
all
future
right.
we can have you back for another session as well.
Okay. Okay, I can prepare that. No issue. Yeah.
Excellent. And we have more comments coming in from the likes of Akpan. He mentions, good to be here and there was great content. Um, Also from Shashi Paul, they say thanks for this. And from a fellow MVP of ours, Rishi. So Rishi, welcome and thank you for being with us in today's session. He mentions that he's used Logic apps a few times for his own personal stuff, but he doesn't think he's actually ever used Power Automate properly.
Okay.
So
Right.
it's probably, and I'll just keep that on screen actually for the time being. It's probably a good question, a good kickoff, shall we say, to a question. So I'm very similar to Rishi here in the fact that I've never really dabbled with Power Automate to any extent. How about yourself, Brigatti?
I think I have used Power Automate only once to send some kind of email alerts to the users, but I don't think I've used it anymore. I think that was the only one instance I've used it. But yeah, it's always good to explore those kind of options like what Power Automate is capable of, because I'm sure it has got so many capabilities. Like I just used it for a simple scenario where I had to send like some kind of alerting emails to different users regarding whether something has failed in the report or not, right? Or for example, my thresholds have been reached in current month or not, those kind of things. So yeah, I think that's what I have used before.
Excellent. And I think with that being said, Ming, one question that I do have for you, because as I mentioned, Rishi asked how to use Power Automate properly. So for me, using a tool like Power Automate properly might mean source control, version control, which obviously comes in source control anyway, and elements like this, code development. Is there anything like that available from a Power Automate perspective?
Yeah, you're posing a question to me, right?
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay, uh, if you have a code versioning and so on, you actually go to DevOps in the DevOps, but not the Power Automate. So versioning control, CI/CD is actually automated in the DevOps itself, inside the DevOps itself. Yeah. So of course, Power Automate. This time you see there are some capability to actually trigger, so to let the DevOps trigger when they actually, finish deploying the source code and so on to the production, for example, for a production or UAT, then they might be able to actually do some action, right, to actually create a report and so on and send it to somebody, right? So that is what you can do. Yeah, but if you talk about versioning control for the code and so on, it's actually under the report in the depth of. If you are still seeing my screen, are you still seeing my screen, Anna?
I can add it
No, right?
back, no problem at all. Just bear with me a
Okay.
moment. And
So yeah. So let me reshare my screen for a while, right? Just very quick one. I just show you, right? So
excellent.
for the depth of, yeah, if you have a depth of, you will have something like this, right? So I will just have right? Okay, so your versioning control and so on. Okay, I hope you are seeing my screen. This is a real one that I actually have. Um, okay, so don't spam me. Okay, so here is what you have. Yeah, inside here you can see check in, check out, versioning control. It's all under the repository here. You can see that actually we have some guy committed the source code. Okay, some fail, some pass, and so on. So I will not let you don't let you capture the screen. Okay, so yeah, so that is where you go, right? So yeah, this is DevOps. Of course, the when you come to Power Automate, then you can actually the action that you can have, right? You can have the so-called the action after your deployment, after you check in, right? Then what you can do using the Power Automate. But the Power Automate will not take care of the versioning control part. To versioning control and how you check in, check out, build, right, is actually in the where I show it to you just now. Yeah, in the depot. Yes.
Makes total sense, and it seems to be a bit more mature, than shall we say, than us from a Power BI perspective. With that being said, as well, Rishi goes on to say that the integration with Power BI metrics to run DAX expressions opens up a lot of opportunity using Power Automate from that perspective. And moving forward, Russell also mentions that he uses Power Automate to get data from his Microsoft form, update the Excel file, load the new data into a Power BI data model, I'm guessing, and refresh the workspace, as well as a trigger to send a thank you email to the participant.
Yeah.
Excellent. I think he's hinting at something that he might like us to do for the user group as well there.
Looks like.
So Russell, we appreciate your feedback, and Ming Man, I think we're going to have you on board to help us develop this automated technology.
Capture this and send it to me. Yeah. I'll try to prepare this. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. But no, thank you very much, Ming Man, for joining us. Like I say, it's an absolute pleasure to have another MVP among us. And especially joining us from Malaysia at 1 a.m. And introducing a lot of us to Power Automate as well. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks
Excellent.
so much.
And Pragati, thank you very much for joining us at today's session. I know you've had a busy evening/afternoon, so really appreciate you joining us today as well.
Oh, that's fine. I always wanted to join again.
Excellent. And you are actually hosting next week's session as well. So
Because
we'll let everybody know.
No, Leon is speaking. Sorry, wrong side. Because Leon is speaking next week. So guys, please join the session.
Yes, please do come and join us next week. As Pragati mentioned, we'll be looking at an introduction to machine learning in Power BI, with myself, hosted by Pragati. I'd have to work out how to be on the other end of this. But no, with that being said, thank you to everyone, because you could have been anywhere in the world, but you've been here with us at the Microsoft Power BI UK User Group, brought to you in association with Pomerol Partners.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining us.